And the first thing that we're going to do to start that meeting is to ask everybody to stand as they are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to ask our city clerk to take roll call.
Councilmember Gurney,
Here.
Vice Mayor Wellander,
Here.
Councilmember Dean,
Here.
Councilmember Lowe, Mayor Farrar-Rivas.
Here.
Thank you.
So I just want to note that there was no closed session, therefore nothing to report. And then next I would like to ask if any council members have anything on the agenda that they would like to change.
I move approval of the agenda.
I second.
Great. Okay. And just for comments from the public. So at this time, members of the public may... Oh, that's right. Thank you very much. I'm just moving ahead. Speed. I am on Hawaii time, so we got to keep it moving tonight. So please take our roll call. Oh, no, I can do that. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go. All right. And at this time, members of the public may address the council on matters not listed on this agenda, but which are within the subject matter of the jurisdiction of the council. So this public comment period will be limited to 10 speakers. Each speaker will be allowed up to 2 minutes. Speakers who do not have an opportunity to speak during this time will be allowed to make public comment under the agenda item 10, which is the second public comment session at the end of the meeting. All right, and so at this time, if you have a comment that you would like to make, could you please, why don't we do it first? How many people want to make a comment? So I'm going to ask you to line up because we are going to take 10. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. How are we doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Looks like there's, if I can count correct, there's 10? It's about 10. So we will, it's 9. Okay. Okay. So now, if you guys, can you just remind where you are in line? And then that way you can sit down if you wish to. And then, or you can just stand there while everybody else is making public comment. But as long as you have your place in line. Yes.
Yes, I'm Madeline Agramonte, and I didn't know it was 2 minutes. I've practiced for 3, but that's okay. Let's see. I'm here this evening on behalf of the people served by Sonoma Overnight Support Unity's Kitchen, 5 days a week from 9 to 1. Aside from the family meals, we also serve food on site, and the kitchen provides food meals to homebound summer school lunches. All of that, 76,000 in 2024. That means the population larger than Sonoma and the Valley. We all have to ask these questions from the board. The Sonoma Overnight has an acquisition team because we have been taken over by Sonoma Family Meals, which is a Petaluma nonprofit. And the people to seek answers from would be the board president, now co-executive director Elena Aliotto, Jude Sales, vice president, and Judith Walsh, secretary, now co-executive director. With a recent action by resolution and approved by the board to create positions of co-executive directors. So here are the questions we need to ask. Will the provision of no-cost meals to those currently being served continue without interruption, alteration, or increased cost? Will the SOS Unity Kitchen maintain on-site services? Will current staffing continue to facilitate services with the Sonoma Valley Community Health Center and FISH? Will the Sonoma Valley organization and hundreds of dedicated volunteers and staff continue their efforts and partnership under the new structure. In addition, will Sweetwater Spectrum and Becoming Independent volunteers continue to be recognized for their service? I did it.
Did the microphone cut off, or?
No, I had a heart attack.
That's not good. You did good. Good evening. My name is Janet Boyle, and I'm a resident of Sonoma. I'm here tonight to respectfully raise 3 concerns regarding the proposed development of the Sebastiani property. First, I'm concerned about the potential conflict of interest. Mr. Barnett, a member of the General Plan Task Force, is also listed as part of the development team working with Foley Family Wines on this project. This dual role could create the appearance of a conflict and may raise public concerns about impartiality in the planning process. To maintain transparency and community trust, I respectfully ask that the city consider adding a community member of the task force to the task force, someone who can bring the perspective of the residents who live near the Sebastiani parcels and who would be most directly affected by any development. Second, I urge you not to change the land use designation of the two existing parcels labeled as agricultural to high-density residential. Replacing green space along our public bike path with 3-story buildings up to 25 homes per acre would dramatically alter the quiet, open character of that area. This would not only affect quality of life, but also go against the values outlined in our general plan. A petition asking for responsible land use has already gathered over 600 signatures from concerned citizens, and that's without any formal promotion of the petition. Third, for the remaining 3 parcels, I ask that you consider low-density residential zoning, and that would keep with the surrounding neighborhood. This would still provide housing while minimizing the strain on our infrastructure and reducing the risk in emergency situations, especially during wildfire evacuations. Please help preserve Sonoma's safety, character, and livability. That's why we all chose to call this town home. Thank you for your service, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
It's time for Transcendence. My name is Graham Bennett. I live at 99 First Street West, which is that little sliver of paradise just above Transcendence Theater in the Field of Dreams. I live with my partner, and we are raising our twin daughters who just turned 13, amazing kids. I'm here to suggest that we put the request for a 3-year extension of the Transcendence Theater in the Field of Dreams on the agenda. The idea of having Transcendence perform in the Field of Dreams for the next 3 years needs to be fully vetted by the community and have complete community input. I can tell you that when Transcendence performs, we cannot use our property. The stage sends extremely loud, unimpeded music, unimpeded by a tent or any enclosure, directly into the amphitheater of the mountains. We try to retreat into our house, but then the windows are rattling and we cannot read, watch a movie together, have normal conversation over dinner, forget about inviting friends over for family get-togethers. It's impossible. The level of anxiety on my property and in my home when Transcendence is performing unimpeded is palpable. Our children have to be in bed on Thursdays and Sundays by 9 p.m. for tutorials the next morning. This is impossible. My children wake up exhausted and anxious. I know that all of you have families, and your first priority in life is to protect your families. And I know money is important, that you want to bring money to the community. I can tell you that at 74 years of age, money is necessary, but it ain't sufficient. I think you all know in your heart of hearts that protecting your family is everything. For the first time in my life, I feel like I cannot protect my family. Please help me to protect my family. Let's put Transcendence on the agenda. Let's work together as a community to find Transcendence an appropriate home. Transcendence is a good thing, but we need to find it an appropriate home. Look at that, 0.
All right. Good evening, council members. My name is Charles Centretto. I've been a longtime resident here in Sonoma and an active member of this community. I'm here to express my concern with the increased noise level that we are experiencing on Blue Wing Drive. I've reached out to the city council and members many times without resolve. The source of the noise is coming from 2 venues, Transcendence and the Sonoma Stompers. While disruptive on their own, When these two events coincide, the noise is magnified and unbearable. We have found ourselves not wanting to be home when these events occur, as we cannot escape the noise. This is no way to live, and the noise has become a quality of life issue. Regarding the stompers, it is not just the loud field prep and pre-game music that starts as early as 2 p.m. that is problematic. It is the games themselves. The announcers have increased the sound level of the PA system significantly over the last years. We now hear play-by-play of every batter up and every advertisement in our home with the windows and the doors shut. At times, the PA system is so loud that it is breaking up. There seems to be no control in place to ensure that the sound level is reasonable. Regarding transcendence. Transcendence, we were told last year that the stage would be reoriented so that it did not point towards our community. That did not happen, as it is still pointing towards us. We were also told that a sound engineer would be there and coming to ensure that the sound level this year reaching our neighborhood was not excessive. That did not happen either, as this year it's louder than it was last. Enough with putting profit over people. We urge you to mitigate the excessive noise and hold accountable those who manage Sonoma Stompers and Transcendence. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Seda. I live on First Street West. Not in my backyard is usually a figure of speech, but in this case, Transcendence is literally in our backyard and inside our house whenever it performs or rehearses. Shows were scheduled this summer for 4 nights a week for 2 weeks in the months of June, August, and September. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And this does not include possible rehearsals on other nights. A concert can be a fun activity, but not when it happens night after night in the space you call home. I cannot overstate how intrusive the concerts are to our daily activities. We cannot use our backyard at all, and inside the house it is difficult to read, cook, to watch TV, to have dinner, or to do much of anything else. And no one can sleep while the concert is going on. On the nights of the performance, the music lasts until 10 p.m., and then there's about an hour afterwards when we hear traffic and voices as people are going home after the show. This is problematic because we have children who need to get up early for summer classes during the week. Last year, we didn't complain because we thought it was one-off. The Transcendence would be returning to its usual venue in Jack London Park. But apparently they're trying to get a 3-year contract with the city, and they want to perform in the Field of Dreams each summer. Before signing off on a 3-year contract, which basically turns the Field of Dreams into a concert venue, we'd ask that the issue be placed on the agenda for future city council meetings, and we'd also ask that an environmental impact report be done to assess the impact of the noise and traffic.
Thank you very much. If you could just wrap up. You can wrap up your last sentence.
Oh, I was just going to say, we think that's necessary if we've got a long-term contract in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, well, I'm going to be very quick. I'm Patty Markin. I'm a broker associate with Reserve Properties. I've been in Sonoma since 1984, and I'm speaking about the theater company as well. I've been speaking to clients who are impacted by this noise. They're very, very unhappy. They come up here, save their money, buy their home in Sonoma to come up and enjoy our lifestyle and relax, and they find that they can't do that. And I think if this goes forward, the property values are going to decrease because it's something you'll have to disclose to clients that you're not going to have any peace while all these shows are going on, and there's going to be tremendous noise and rattling windows, as other people have told me. So I thought maybe you could just take that as a consideration as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kerry Atwood, and I'm a resident of Blue Wing Drive as well. Actually, I'm closer because I'm just on the other side of the cemetery, and I cannot use my backyard when Transcendence is playing. It sounds like having a neighbor who has a radio playing loud with the same songs every single night. I love the music, but I can't listen to it 4 nights a week. I go inside my house with my double pane windows, and I can hear the music. I cannot watch television comfortably. Even my puppy's disturbed by the sound constantly. So I agree with everybody else. We need a change of venue for this, and I think it should be brought before the council to get this, and also with the community input as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hello. My name's Carrie Gerster. I live on East Spain Street. Thank you for the opportunity to make a comment. I'm going to bring us back to the Sebastiani land use discussion that Janet mentioned. And I'm here to express my concerns about it. First, I do understand that we are just talking about a land use at this point in time, and it is not a proposed development. Second, I also support the idea of reevaluating what can go on this land so it better benefits the city and its residents. That said, the current proposal is very concerning to me. The proposed density ranges from a minimum of 7 units per acre to 25 units per acre. That minimum is much denser than what is currently allowed there or in the surrounding areas. And as we all know, the site is an extremely high fire risk area per CAL FIRE. So adding what could be hundreds of more cars to narrow evacuation routes just does not seem safe. Also, I wanted to point out that if adopted, this new land use designation will guide future development for decades to come, long after the decision makers have moved on from their posts. And I think we should consider that carefully when we evaluate this whole site. Equally important, as Janet mentioned, this approach really lacks broad community support. Neighbors want growth that is thoughtful, safe, and consistent with Sonoma's unique character. So, rather than a sweeping change, why don't we work with the community to develop a plan that is more targeted to specific parts of the site? So including more housing options on some parts of the site, green options on other parts of the site, etc. And so I ask that if and when this proposal, as it is currently envisioned, comes before the council, that you take a step back and collaborate with residents on a more tailored and place-based vision. And I also want to thank Jennifer Gates for being so helpful and spending time with me. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Claudia, how are you?
I'm okay. Claudia Raniker, 300 2nd Street East. Okay, there was a city council meeting some years ago where people were all lined up, all of them saying the July 4th entertainment is too loud. One of the council members chose to resolve the problem by making his statement that he liked the fireworks. Needless to say, those who were imposed upon with the loud blast of the fireworks left and were never heard again. All 3 parties lost their equality that night. 2 parties gained a sense of superiority and entitlement. The third, oppression. Isn't that interesting? That council member caused a social injustice that harmed our town in a most tragic and appalling way to elevate himself along with a portion of the public while devaluing the rest. Public entertainment is a privilege and not a right. No one is entitled to public entertainment, plain and simple. I am here tonight because this social injustice has continued on year after year without resolution. If it continues on, then this city council is responsible for social injustice as well. I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm here. This is very serious to me. I want to believe this city council will do all that it could to return equality to all of its rightful owners. I want to help. Where is it written that fireworks are the only public entertainment that is allowed on July 4th? I'm beginning to think that fireworks are the wrong choice. A privilege is not a privilege unless everyone is treated equally. Otherwise, it becomes oppression. I would like to suggest looking into drone shows. I got a guy. I can help you with that.
And I'll let you finish up quickly.
Okay, I think we need to have boundaries and limits on it. We have to have noise boundaries. We have to have everything in the decibel sounds. We don't want anything above decibel for the people that live in the environment. We want to have restriction on lights. We want to have control over it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Dimmler.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and Council, and City staff. Robert Demler, 1st Street West, Sonoma. I do not have a complaint tonight. I have a plea. I've written twice to the council and copied and to the city manager, sorry. Yesterday, a week ago, and yesterday, and my apologies. A key person I did not include in my message, and I'm going to send him copies, and that's our chief. Got it. Sorry. It's about our Nepalese community. I'm expecting an answer from you all, and I have no preconceived idea of what the answer might be. I'm not looking for anything specifically. I'm not trying to make I'm trying to make a point, but I'm not trying to make a specific point. I'm concerned about our Nepalese community. I'm still reading on the internet. It's confusing. I don't always understand it. Sometimes that's a good thing. I think the special status that the Nepalese had in our country, the refugee status, it either expired June 28th or it's going to expire August 4th, whatever. I love these folks. I don't know all of them, but on an individual basis, I think I tried to explain in my second message, they are quite lovable people and a great, great, great asset to our community. And I don't want to see them abused in any way, and we're walking on quicksand, or however it's described in these situations. But I don't want to see them picked up on the street or from their homes or from their businesses. Thank you so much. I do wish to have an answer.
Thank you, Robert. Mr. Dimmler. All right, I just want to make one response and also ask our city attorney just to make sure I'm correctly responding to this. But if there is a member of a commission that is, and a item comes before them and they're making a decision on it, and that commissioner has specific capital interest in the project that is being brought before the commission, they are required to recuse themselves and not be part of that discussion. So I think actually the woman that brought that up is not here anymore, but just so that everybody else is aware of that. So thank you very much. Okay. All right, moving on. I just want to ask at this point from the council members if there are any meeting dedications. Okay, yes, Councilwoman Lowe.
I would like to dedicate this meeting to the peaceful memory of Alice Waco. Alice Waco did not live in Sonoma, but did a lot of work in the county. Her passing was on the front page of the Press Democrat. She was a former nun who met her future husband, who was a priest at the time, and they found each other, lovingly so, and went on to be teachers and stewards of the environment and fought for the cause of peace all over the world. And she was someone who I worked with I worked for the teachers union, and she was someone who we all regarded as the conscience of us all. And I would just like to dedicate the memory of this meeting to the memory of Alice Waco and to peace everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very appreciated. Do we have any other dedications this evening? All right. We're moving on to council member reports or comments. Mostly just reports, I think. Anybody have any reports?
I do.
Yes. Councilmember Ding.
I have several of the meetings I was attending. And the first one, that is 2 weeks ago, that is June 19, on the Zero Waste to Sonoma. And brought all our board member having a field trip. We visit the Sonoma County refuse disposal site that is in the west part of the Petaluma. And that is a wonderful experience. Seeing is believing. We've seen how much work they have done for county of the Sonoma. And the next part is visit a ecology center in the Santa Rosa, but I didn't go. The reason is a couple of years ago I already visited there after they purchased advanced equipment that is huge and capacities for that equipment. That is the Friday, that is June 20th, I was attending Sonoma County Mayor and Council Member Association Legislative Committee and a monthly meeting. And basically this is a routine meeting, and we just review all the bills and the current status. And here I want to itemize each one, just to remind the people, if you have interest, if you have any input, yeah, please. Yeah, it's a good time. And I don't want to see in the future all these kind of law would be the past. I said I didn't know that. So right now it's in a perfect time. First one is SB 79, that is regarding the transit-oriented development, because around transit, a BART around the smart, and allowed developer to build and higher stories and buildings. And the second one is SB 569, that is regarding the homeless encampments, and AB A46, that is an incidental take wildfire preparedness activities. AB 300, that is a fire hazard security in the zone, and stay in the fire marshal. And AB 261, that is fire safety. And AB 306, the building regulation, state and the building standard should be changed and put in a 6 years monitoring on any of the building for as a new standard. And then that is the meeting for legislative committee. And the Monday, that is the June 23rd, I was attending to the Sonoma Valley Groundwater Sustainability Agency and board in the meeting. And we lived our silence in memory of our the late board member, Steve Rogers. He passed away. Yeah, it's a big loss for the Sonoma. And also finally we passed the 2025 to 2026 budget, and we got approved. And then we also got in the community engagement in the plan, updated adoption as well. That is my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Wellander, did you have a report?
I have two items, but I'm only going to pick one because it's kind of a happy item. I had the chance on Friday to be part of a ribbon cutting at a new business in town called The French Florist. And as I reflect back on my 49 years of marriage, there have been many times in which I needed to go to a florist. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to support the community and support this new business. And it was fun to be a part of. So thank you for going to Hawaii.
Councilmember Gurney, Councilmember Lowe, Councilwoman Lowe.
Thank you. Monday was the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authority meeting, and I'm saying that out loud because it's a new acronym. It's now SCTCA, which is a couple of letters less than what it had before, and I'll still have to look at this card. So there was a lot of discussion regarding the roundabout, the one we got to see some drone overviews of what it's looking like now and what it will look like, and it looks like it's going to be completed in October. So they're moving right along on that. And then there's a survey regarding Lakeville Street. I'm going to give this to the clerk because there's a QR code if people are interested in opining on that project. I'd also like to bring them to the council and the community's awareness of an organization called Mascots, which is the Marin Sonoma Coordinated Transit Service Plan. And what it is all the 6 transit agencies, Golden Gate, SMART, Petaluma Transit, Santa Rosa Bus, everything, they meet together to discuss how better to improve service on the 101 corridor. And I know that that is the dedication of their organization, is only to determine how to improve the corridor. However, I will say that at every time they bring this up, I mention that there are many people outside of that corridor that go to that corridor, and maybe they should talk about how do we better get to that corridor so we can avail ourselves of SMART and Petaluma Transit and the bus and so forth, and that we do have rail service. In fact, the SMART owns the rail lines on 8th Street. That's SMART. That is actually owned by SMART. So I just want you to know that I am a constant thorn in the side of the people who look only at 101 and remind them that some people go east and some people go west to get to that artery, and that we need improved service so that we can be part of SMART. I mean, SMART is fantastic. Every single month it increases in ridership. In fact, they're taking bus routes off and combining them because people prefer being on SMART than on the buses. And so that's great, but we need a bus that takes us to Petaluma so that we can get on SMART. That doesn't stop, 15 stops, a dedicated line. So just wanted you to know that this organization exists and that I am constantly reminding them of where we are in the county. We pay taxes to all of those places, to SMART. In fact, we were the highest percentage of people in Sonoma who voted for the SMART. We're like big fans of the train, so please let us get there quicker and enjoy it. So thank you, and I will continue my advocacy on part of the eastern part of the county. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say if I was going to choose someone to be a thorn in their side, it certainly would be Councilwoman Lowe. She does it very nicely, but she's persistent. So I have a few. I'm not going to go into great detail on any of them because we have a lot ahead of us on this meeting. But on June 20th, I attended the ABAG meeting, which is the Association of Bay Area Governments. A big focus of that was going over their budget, and talking about their pension liability of $18 million, but and then also making some amendments to their bylaws. Then on 6/25, many of us, all of us, I believe, attended the City of Sonoma Employee Appreciation Lunch, and that was fabulous. It was great to be there. It was at the Sonoma Lodge. It was a great event. And then on 6:30, I attended a Climate Safe Tourism meeting, which is a meeting that we have, I think, once a quarter now. It's with restaurants, wineries, hotels. It's at the Chamber, and, the tourism department comes over too. So that was good. And then all of us also were at the 4th of July parade. And then on July 8th, along with Vice Mayor Wellander, we attended a meeting of the Sonoma Creek Housing, and there's an item on our consent calendar which is related to that. So that's my report. So now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to ask our city manager if he has any comments.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A couple items. First, we do have a cultural asset inventory that is out looking for public comment currently. It is on our website. It's the point of that is to build an inventory that will identify people, places, events, traditions that define our city's unique identity. That's part of our public art program, but it's also going to support an application to the to create a California Cultural Arts District that we're working on as well. So if you're interested in that, please check out our website. Due to the application timeline to turn that around and get that submitted, we do need feedback fairly shortly. We'd like to get your information by next Friday, July 25th, so please take a look at that. We will still have time after that to evolve. Our Arts Commission is going to be working on that over the years, but we want to make sure we get this started. Second, I've gotten a lot of questions about the Parks Director and creation of our Parks Department. We're moving right along. We have identified an excellent candidate, have agreed to terms, and I will be announcing that probably next week is the goal. So we're looking forward to having that individual on board and doing a lot of great things with our parks, our arts programs, our recreation programs moving forward. The 4th of July event, as mentioned by the mayor, was a wonderful event. The parade was great. I came out early in the morning and couldn't even find a spot to sit around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning looking for a spot. But I think it was well attended. Great event, thanks to public safety, our staff, volunteers, everybody that made that happen. I think the weather cooperated as well this year. As a reminder, the Sonoma Valley is celebrating its 200th harvest this year. So there will be events all throughout the year. So if you're interested, you can visit Sonoma Valley Vintners. They have information about what's going on, or our visitor center. A lot of events happening to celebrate that 200th harvest. In addition, you'll start to see 200 harvest flags around the city and on City Hall. So if you see those, that's what they're about. This weekend, we do have a big event coming up. We have on Saturday the Rose 5K on the Sonoma Plaza, and then the Napa to Sonoma Half Marathon on Sunday. So there will be a lot of people out here, and then once they're done running, hopefully staying and eating in our restaurants and enjoying our downtown. And finally, unfortunately, our finance director couldn't be here tonight. I did want to give her acknowledgement. I got a sneak peek of our online budget book. This is going to be a new tool we're rolling out shortly. It was very impressive. We're definitely moving out of the dinosaur age and into a pretty incredible, interactive, live, transparent budget that I think the public will appreciate, this council will appreciate, and we're looking forward to rolling that out. So stay tuned. You'll see information coming out over the next few weeks. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. And also, those harvest flags are available for purchase as well, too, so you can put them in front of your house. So I think you can get them from the
Vintners
Association.
Yep.
Yeah. And so now, City Attorney Rudeman, do you have any comments for us?
Given the length of the agenda, I thought I would defer my comments till next time.
All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that, although we always appreciate your comments. They're rare, but good. All right, so moving on. So this is the highlight of the evening, or what I consider to be the highlight of the evening. People may have other ideas about that, but just, one of our restaurants in Sonoma has received an amazingly distinctive honor, and that restaurant is Enclos. And the honor that restaurant is receiving is they have received 2 Michelin stars plus a Michelin Green Star. And the other really amazing aspect of it is that they have only been open for 7 months. And I don't know if that has been actually ever happened before, where a restaurant was recognized in such an early time frame. And so I'm going to invite Chef Limoges up here in a moment, but just I want to cover just a few highlights, and I want to, if you want to speak to this, I will leave room for you, so I don't, talk about everything, but just so that we know, it's Chef Brian Limoges, and he has a Michelin pedigree, which includes leadership roles at Atelier Crène, quince, birdsong, saison, angler, and henrock. And, one of the things is the menus are tied to our shifting seasons, so it's seasonal food. But also, I think another significant aspect of it, which I'm sure it contributed to us getting the green Michelin star, is that we want to recognize also their sister property, Stone Edge Farms, pioneering in sustainability practices and providing a lot of the food that is served there. And that they do, I'm not going to go into all the wonderful things they do, but they do many. And so I think the other thing that is enjoyed there is a really collaborative employee workplace. They work 4 days a week, and they set a really positive example for the hospitality industry to keep their employees happy. So they also, in addition to the Michelin honors, they received the Wine Spectator Award for Excellent and was named Best Sonoma Dining by San Francisco Magazine in 2025. So this is bringing international recognition to Sonoma, and will certainly is really something to be significantly celebrated. So it'll attract new visitors. So and it'll be wonderful to attract new visitors. I think it is the first time we have a Michelin star restaurant in Sonoma. We have many, many, many good restaurants in Sonoma, but this is the first time with a Michelin star. So what I'm going to do at this point is just quickly the certificate of recognition, this certificate that I'm going to give to you in a moment, to Enclos. Once again, 2 Michelin stars and the Michelin Green Star. 2025 Michelin Guide honors that place you among the world's most distinguished culinary destinations. Your dedication to excellence is reflected not only in your exceptional cuisine, but also in your leadership and environmental responsibility and sustainability practice. This rare combination of accolades is a testament to the vision, creativity, and integrity of your entire team. So the City of Sonoma is proud to celebrate this remarkable accomplishment and extend its heartfelt congratulations. Your achievements bring international acclaim to our community and exemplify the very best of Sonoma's culinary and environmental values. So, Chef, would you step forward? Yeah. So, I will come here, we'll take a picture, and then we'll ask you, I would love it if you would, say yes. Okay, here we go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do I only get 2 minutes, or do I get longer than that? Okay, good. Yeah, thank you very much. This is really special. I think when we opened Enclos, our ambitions, were to create a high-end experience, but it wasn't like the sole ambition of getting Michelin stars. Our goal was to feed the community and take care of the community, and that's kind of what we've done. I mean, they've been really supportive, and while the barrier of entry is a little higher with our price point, we feel that we sought to feed the community in a way that hasn't been done before. So the restaurant is about Sonoma. Like one of the first courses is about my experience moving to Sonoma from the city and learning the city by going for hikes on the Overlook Trail. So it's served on an antler because I would see deer up there all the time. I'm from New Hampshire. Deer is a state animal, so kind of drawing those parallels. So there's a ton of stuff throughout the menu that talks about Sonoma. And so the cool thing about Michelin, 2 stars means worth a detour. So that's how they describe it. So I love the idea that people are, instead of hopefully going up to Healdsburg or anywhere else, they're going to make the detour back to Sonoma. So that's what we're going to continue to do. We really appreciate the support of the community, and we look forward to giving back as well. So thank you very much, and we look forward to another 7 months.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll get my first taste at September 3rd. I'll see you there. It's my birthday, so that's why I get to go. All right, so moving forward. All right, now we're going to have a presentation by the Marin Municipal Water District MMWD staff on a proposed Sonoma County Water Agency water supply agreement, and provide direction to the city's Water Advisory Committee, WAC. That's the county's, sorry. It's the county's Water Advisory Committee, right? Yes. And our Vice Mayor Wellander is a member of that committee representing Sonoma. And so that is going to be happening on August 4th. So I'm going to have Michael Berger, our Public Works Director, is going to do a presentation for us on that. And then we'll have a discussion and open up for some public comment to give him direction in regards to we're going to ask for his recommendation, his thoughts on how he's going to vote on this.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Farrar-Rivas, and thank you for hearing this item tonight, Mayor and Council. Just a brief background. The City of Sonoma purchases water from Sonoma County Water Agency under the restructured agreement that's made up of 8 bodies in the county. Marin Municipal Water District is not included in the 2006 restructured agreement that the other cities have. They have a separate water supply agreement, the 2015 renewal agreement with Sonoma County Water Agency. The term of this agreement expired in June 30th, 2025. And from Marin Municipal Water District tonight, Paul Sellier is here. He is the Water Resources Director for MMWD. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the presentation over to him. Thank you.
He's on Zoom.
Great. Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Paul Sellier, I'm the Water Resources Director with Marin Municipal. And I heard you loud and clear. You have a very busy agenda this evening, and I will try my best to respect that and get through the presentation as quickly as possible. Please stop me along the way if there are any questions or anything is unclear as we get going. As Mr. Berger indicated, we do have a separate water supply agreement with Sonoma. And so tonight we'll just cover very quickly some background on Marin Municipal and that particular agreement. And then just touching on recognizing that while Sonoma Water provides a very important source of water for the Marin water, we do have other supplies that we're continuing to develop as well. So we'll touch on that and then hit the schedule for the agreement and the process that we're following. So very quickly, Marin Water, as you probably all know, provides service to a number of cities in Marin County, San Rafael, San Anselmo, Ross, and so on. You can see them here. We have 7 local reservoirs that provide about 75% of our water supply, and we get about 25% on a typical year from the Russian River. In total, all of our customers will utilize around 23,000 acre-feet of water. The agreement with Sonoma is covered, it's quite old, it goes back to 1975, and there are 2 main sections of the agreement. One is called the off-peak agreement, and the other is the sale of water agreement. And as Mr. Berger indicated, the agreement expired June 30th of this year. We're operating currently under an extension through December while we work to get this new agreement moved forward. So we've been doing this for quite a while. We've been a customer of Sonoma Water since 1975, and these agreements have been renewed a number of times. In total, we have about 14,300 acre-feet of water under contract from Sonoma. But typically, we're taking just the minimum take or pay, because in a normal year, of course, we have reservoir water, and that take or pay is about 5,300 acre-feet of water. We've also contributed financially to the system since 1975, buying water. Of course, as you know, when you operate a water system, much of the costs are fixed for that water system, so the more sort of members, if you like, that participate defray the cost for the other members. And part of those costs we've contributed are some lump sum payments, which are designed to catch us up with equivalencies to Sonoma residents who pay for water supply projects on property taxes, things like Sonoma, the dam at Sonoma and Mendocino. In addition, when we buy water, Marin Water pays a premium of about 11%. So we, over the highest cost of water in the system, not including Windsor, which had a particular surcharge, in addition to some specific charges on the Russian River project and some conservation charges. So we contribute financially to the system, maybe a little bit in excess of the water that we're purchasing to help defray the costs for the other contractors. Getting to the sort of structure of the matter of the agreement, what really is changing from our perspective, there are some relatively simple changes in terms of the term of the agreement moving from 10 years to 15 years. The total volume of water doesn't change, nor does the taker pay. We are contributing another $12.5 million in lump sum payment, which is designed to help pay for and support water supply resiliency projects that Sonoma Water is going to pursue that will hopefully help all of us. And the main thing that's really changing from our perspective is this maximum delivery limit issue, where in the old contract, we'd have to ramp up purchases at sort of no more than an additional 1,000 acre-feet per year. And in reality, if Sonoma has the water available, and if there's
I think you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can.
Okay, so you're back. You're back now.
Oh, okay.
You were just going into the maximum delivery limit.
Yeah, so from our perspective, the maximum delivery limit is one of the key parts of the agreement that's changed. In the old agreement, we were limited, we'd have to add only 1,000 acre-foot increments each year. In reality, Sonoma Water, when they have water available and there's transmission system capacity, benefit from selling that water. So there's sort of, and of course, if Marin want to buy it, there's sort of a willing seller and a willing buyer, and there doesn't seem to be any reason why you would want to restrict that ability to benefit from the revenue and for Marin Water to benefit from the water availability. In terms of the cost of water, there are a lot of bullets here, but essentially there's no change to the cost structure of the water. All of these things that were in the old agreement continue into the new agreement. So from our perspective, these are the sort of key terms. And just pivoting right now, so of course this is a very important source of water for Marin Water, supplemental water for us from the Russian River. This chart reflects our reservoir storage level. The black line is the total storage level in our reservoirs from 2019 all the way up through October of 2021. And you can see at this lowest point here where we were in the drought, we were maybe 6 to 8 months before running out of water. So thankfully, as you can see, that black line started to rise quite quickly there at the end, indicating those October rains of 21 arrived to help fill up the reservoirs. That gave us time to look at what really would be a good project to help address this sort of drought vulnerability that we feel we're subject to. And so, of course, we leaned heavily, like all of the contractors, into water efficiency, and the inset chart on the right indicates from the blue line is sort of where our demand is today, which is about 4,000 acre-feet below that yellow dotted line, which was our forecast for demand. So our conservation programs have done very, very well. We know, though, that once you come out of a drought, at some point, demand starts to creep back up, doesn't it? So we didn't want to take credit for all 4,000 acre-feet in terms of water supply. So we've adjusted our forecast downward by 2,000 acre-feet. And then the rest of these bullets are essentially looking at a way for us to consider different water supply alternatives. And that's the process that we've been through since 2021. And this rather picturesque eye chart here very quickly started with a roadmap on the left of some broad types of projects that were then defined into 34 different alternatives that were then shortlisted, and then 4 final projects made it through. And the PETA 3 was a pipeline project. Sulahuli and Kent are 2 of our local reservoirs that we were looking at expanding the capacity of, and we wanted to compare those, all of those, to what would a 10 MGD desalination plant look like. Of all of those, the final 4, the sort of clear winner by a long way was the pipeline project, the PETA 3, which we've since renamed the ARC project, the Atmospheric Capture River Capture Project. And it's essentially a pipeline that goes from the 101 intersection with San Marin Drive, if you know roughly where that is, and we'll follow San Marin Drive all the way through Novato and out to Nicosia Reservoir. So it's about 13 miles. And the idea of this project is that even in drought years, as we experienced in the 2020 and 2021, there are still atmospheric rivers that will hit the Russian River watershed. It won't be the normal 5 or 6 or 7, but there'll be 1 or 2, or maybe even 3. And when that happens, there is excess flow in the Russian River above the minimum mainstream flows that during wintertime, right, this is winter rainfalls, we would be able to pull that water into a Marin reservoir through this new pipeline that we'll be constructing. So the benefits to that project are obviously our reservoirs exist today. We don't need to build anything to store the water. And in a drought, those reservoirs will be drawn down, so there'll be room to store water. Currently, that water from an atmospheric river in the drought in wintertime, there isn't enough demand in the existing system for everybody to consume it. So it's essentially going out to the ocean. So by capturing it, we'll be bringing more water into the system, which will hopefully be better for everyone. And the final bullet here is this presents an opportunity for others to be able to bank water in a Marin reservoir, and then you would receive that water through some form of trade. You'd take a Marin waters allocation and use that water in lieu. So is there enough Russian River water? This is another eye chart, lots of data essentially showing that the very lowest flow occurred in 2020. This is a 22-year period. And the minimum flow going out to the ocean was 83,000 acre feet. And that's above the current 125 cubic foot per second limit that's needed to support the environmental aquatic species in the river. Maximum flows, of course, are well over 3 million. We don't need any additional contracts or no additional water rights to be able to use this water. So the schedule that we've been working on, the TAC, the sort of 4th check there, the TAC voted as a group for recommending approval of this agreement on June 2nd. And we're in the sort of second to last bullet period here where the different members are going through their approval process as we are tonight for the city of Sonoma, with targeting a WAC vote, the Water Advisory Council vote on August 4th. So that process then is, of course, this agreement between Marin Water and Sonoma Water is subject to the approval by the Water Advisory Council. And as you know, each contractor has a representative on that council. Hence my presence here tonight, requesting support for the approval of the agreement with Sonoma Water. And that concludes the presentation this evening.
Thank you very much. I'm going to see if council would like to ask any questions at this point. And just a reminder, this is not an item that we are voting on. This is just an item for us to ask questions and give direction, if wish to Vice Mayor Wellander. Yes, Councilmember Jing.
Yeah, I have an interesting question. Because you just mentioned on the marine water from the 7 different reservoirs, the majority of our water, 85%, for us is using the Russian River and the water. If any the big difference, the water between the marine water and the Russian River water?
The quality?
Yeah, quality-wise, or more minerals or whatever.
Yeah, a little bit. Not, it's very, Sonoma water is very, very good water. It is very, very good water. It's close, you know, in terms of composition to Marin water, but there are minor differences.
Great, thank you.
Yes. Vice Mayor Wellander.
Yes, if I could ask a question, please. In a drought year where there is a shortage of available water, how is the water distributed? Is it equitably? How is it structured with your proposed contract?
So absent the project that we're talking about, the standard allocation occurs. So the same way it did in 2021 when we were all allocated. There's a process that's gone through that considers everyone's needs, and that's a process that's been developed by Sonoma Water. And we're subject to the same allocation. So there's no preference or preferable treatment to Marin water. We're all treated with the same allocation methodology.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No. So having no other questions, I will open it up to see if anybody from the public would like to make a public comment at this time. All right, seeing none, I will bring it back to the council for discussion, and actually would just like to have our vice mayor comment.
One of my takeaways of being on this council is the fact that it's very expensive to deliver water these days, and it's very expensive to maintain facilities. And if I've understood the presentation this evening, Marin water does contribute financially to the resiliency and the ongoing maintenance of our systems. And based upon his comment that said that in a drought time, it's all kind of equal allocation, so it isn't a preference. I see this as a revenue opportunity that will continue to help support the delivery system. So I see that as a very positive thing. I also, if the data was correct, that says that Marin takes no different outlook on water than Sonoma County, and that it's a precious resource that we all need to conserve. So I, at this point, unless, and I'm open to comments, but I'm at this point leaning towards supporting this proposal with Marin water.
Any comments? Yes, Councilmember Dean.
Yeah, I support, and if we purchase more marine water, the reason is in this way we can diversify our water resources. Because I think right now we heavily relying on the Russian River water, especially right now the PG&E issue, Pot Valley issue. In this opportunity we can, little bit improve and diversify our water resource. I support.
Any other comments, Councilwoman Lowe?
I would support the Vice Mayor's position on this and thank him for his service to this council and this community in serving on this important commission. Thank you.
Councilmember Gurney.
Yeah, I would concur, and I actually like the math in terms of what they pay for water, so go for it.
I just concur with all of my other council members' statements. So thank you very much. So moving on, because we actually will not be taking a vote on this. So now we are going to be moving on to our public hearings, and we're going to start with
the consent calendar.
Oh, the consent calendar. Thank you. I'm like on a speed demon tonight. Okay. So at this point, I would like to let everybody know that all items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon in a single motion. There's no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the council or staff requests specific items to be removed or separate action for separate action. Does anybody wish to pull an item from the consent calendar? At this moment, I would like to see if there's any public comment
Madam Mayor?
regarding the consent calendar.
If I could
Yes.
just make a couple
Yes,
comments about the consent.
yes.
First of all, there are a couple items related to the Sonoma Ecology Center, and so I believe you may have some
Yes.
disclosure to make with respect to those. This would be the appropriate time.
Yes, thank you very much. So I am the vice chair of Sonoma Ecology Center's board. In that position, I do not receive any compensation. So, and although this is a contract, it's just it's important for the public to be aware of that.
Yeah, and also just for the public and the council's information, there were a couple changes to the two contracts with Sonoma Ecology Center, which I believe have been provided to you on the dais, and there are copies in the back, to clarify that they are for 3-year terms ending June 30th, 2028, and then correcting the not to exceed amount over the 3-year term. I think initially in the staff report, the amount was for a 1-year term, and so the 3-year term, the initial one is $120,750, and the second one is $87,630. So just
For all 3 years.
correct in those 3 years.
Yeah. So what it shows on the initial one was the annual amount. All right. And then I just had one other comment I wanted to make in regarding our resolution, adopting a resolution to approve the allocation of $5,000 in discretionary community funding to the Secure Families Collaborative. Just to let people know, the Secure Families Collaborative is a collaborative of organizations supporting LGBTQ and immigrant communities with a focus on a number of different issues, but certainly know your rights and legal support. And it's something that's really important for us to show that we are supporting our communities that could be experiencing issues right now in regards to issues around immigration and other issues. And so the other thing about it is the county is supporting the Secure Families Collaborative for $500,000. But us, even with this small amount putting in, just shows that Sonoma is part of this effort. So I just wanted to put that out as points of information. So thank you very much. And at this time, I will call for a motion. No? Oh, public comment. Yeah, I'm doing good. Here we go, public comment. All right. Yes, Vice Mayor Wellander.
I'd love to ask staff just one quick question. I don't wish to pull it. Under the contract with, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation.
Oleuna?
Yes. I see that part of the responsibility is grant writing, and in the summary, it implied that they have been with us for a while. What is their track record on securing grants for Sonoma?
At this point, my understanding is that we have not used them for that exact purpose due to the other workload we have, but they are on track to help us out when we do identify grants that we're looking for.
Thank you.
I move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the public hearing section. And the first one, item 8.1, is an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 7.40 permits for motion picture and television production and adding Chapter 7.42 unmanned aircraft systems, or UASs, of the Sonoma Municipal Code and finding the ordinance exempt from CEQA, from California Environmental Act, pursuant to Section 15061B3. And I'm going to hand this over to our Community Development Director, Jennifer Gates.
Hello. Well, we're on two screens. Okay.
These two, they're on those two. So thank you very much. Community Development Director Jennifer Grates. I am here to present the first ordinance of the night of two. This one is in regards to drones. So drones are becoming more present in most of our municipalities, and with that, there have been questions. And so staff worked with our police chief to come up with a drone ordinance and then submitted that to our city attorney's office, who added more things. So with that, before you is a lovely collaborative effort. So just as a background reminder, the Federal Aviation Administration actually regulates all of our airspace, but municipalities do have some authority. It's limited to address any local impacts, including takeoff and landing locations, use over public property, and then enforcement of time, place, and manner restrictions. So before you are two ordinances, or was one ordinance, but two different chapters that we were talking about. The first one that I'm going to talk about is a new chapter 7.42, which is the unmanned aircraft systems. And again, this is the ordinance does is establish our guidelines for drone takeoff and landing within our public spaces. It prohibits drone use in sensitive areas, such as near schools or government facilities or any emergency operations. It restricts operations during our permitted public events or where crowds are present. It reinforces the FFA rules, provides exemptions for law enforcement and permitted commercial uses, and establishes the enforcement and penalty provisions for violations. We did have one amendment on this ordinance that just came to me from our city attorney right before this meeting started. So that's why it's here in your PowerPoint, but it is not before you. So this is for your consideration as well. And that's a modification in 7.42060. We're striking through as the term is defined in section 7.4030 to modify it to as provided in SMC 740.020. That is that change. Next one is going to be about a new replacing chapter for 7.40. It currently exists. We are recommending to repeal it and replace it with a new chapter. And we're going to shorten that name from motion pictures to commercial photography, filming, and recording. We are going to add more definitions. We are simplifying the municipal code chapter. It had a lot of additional information that we are recommending to actually put into a policy, including the application process itself, submittal requirements, and operation of filming activities. And then also clarifying that film permits are not required for news media, family videos, studio productions, or city-produced or city-sponsored government or educational access productions. Before you is a quick change that we wanted to recommend to you all for your consideration tonight as well, and that is in the handout that you have, there is an underlined section on 7.40.070 where we're adding a sentence that would allow for the city council to be able to specifically be able to reduce fees around charitable and student films. So we still want to be able to understand what they're going to be doing and issue permits, but then we're just clarifying that those types could have reduced fees. So with that, staff is recommending to introduce the ordinance before you tonight to repeal and replace Chapter 7.40 and add Chapter 7.42 and find the ordinance exempt, and as well as to review that proposed draft film policy and procedures that were attached to your staff report. And with the next hearing item in August, sorry, not next hearing item, but the next hearing in regards to this ordinance that we will hold in August, where we'll adopt the ordinance, we'll bring forward a resolution to adopt this draft policy that you see as well. So with that, that concludes staff's presentation. If you have any questions, let me know. Or
Do you have any
Chief?
questions from staff, from council? Yes. Councilmember Lowe.
How does this ordinance dovetail or coincide with anything the county might also have? Because there's obviously the city of Sonoma is kind of small. If somebody's sending something up into the sky, it could land out, you know, could go off on one side of Verano and land on the other side, is basically it. So is there any coordination with the county in terms of our language similar to theirs so that people understand, you know, what they're supposed to do?
I'll start it and then I'll let the city attorney finish it. This ordinance is pretty standard in a lot of the language that was used throughout. We did use the best practices around ordinance development around drone usage, and I would assume that we would regulate with anything within our city boundary.
Yeah, we don't have authority over the takeoff and landing outside of the city limits, but we did review the county's drone ordinance, and we did incorporate some of the provisions related to law enforcement and public safety operations into ours so that they were consistent with one another. So I think that the county would have an easier time.
Because I could certainly see somebody making the argument like, well, I wasn't in the city. I was, you know, I live on blah, 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 you know, because we're such a small city and they could easily, you know. So if we're consistent with the county, then I don't think we'll have that problem as much. That's all I'm thinking.
Do we have any other questions? Councilmember Ding.
My question regarding requirements when they apply for the permit, if any insurance required,
We do require insurance for
Okay.
the filming permit. So if you look at the policy, whenever we're having any drone usage for commercial films, we're going to be issuing permits, and we do require that insurance to be submitted. An example of this is we actually did do this during the 4th of July parade. There was a drone, and we did require their insurance information.
Thank you.
And we also require indemnification as well.
Okay. Another question is, how do you do the public notification, or do you have this kind of, or some of the road closure, or a big team if they come?
So are you talking about for if we have a film
Yeah.
of permitting? So the film permit policy and procedures will talk about any kind of road closures or things like that. So there'll be coordination with our Public Works Department to make sure everything is noticed accordingly. There's also requirements for noticing any businesses that may be affected by any kind of filming in their area, as well as other private property owners. So anything occurring also on a private property, you have to have private property owner approval submitted as part of your application as well.
Thank you. Good to know. Thank you.
Councilmember Wellander. Vice Mayor Wellander.
Is filming or I should say, creating a movie in the town, is that a revenue generator for us beyond just a permit application? In other words, I'm just curious on that, beyond the fee.
There is nothing beyond the fee that's being charged by the city.
So the fee is charged based upon just recovery of those involved in the review and the providing of the fee or the approval of the application?
Currently, yes.
Thank you.
It has to be limited to the costs imposed on the city, otherwise it would be a tax.
So you're telling me that this is not a moneymaker if Disney wanted to come and do a full-length?
I think that the income generation in that situation would be indirect in terms of the hotel stays generated by staff and restaurant visits generated by those participating in the filming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we are going to ask if anybody from the public would like to make a comment in regards to this. All right, no drone nerds in the audience. Okay, now, moving on. Oh, excuse me. Open public comment. Now I'm going to ask, would anybody like to make public comment, just to make sure that we're doing this in the appropriate way? All right. Oh, yes, we do have one. See? It was the nerd that brought you up.
When you mentioned that. Richard Dale, Sonoma Ecology Center. I just wanted to clarify, this does allow you to regulate in parks and that sort of thing if you choose to in the future. That was my one concern, because we also manage a state park and have had some issues sometimes when that comes up. Also, just of note, we did have one fire at the state park created by a drone, so it's worth having safety measures too.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Now that we've had one come out of the closet, anybody else? All right. All right, moving on, and we're going to move on. We are going to close public comment. And now I'm going to go to ask if the council would like to ask. Oh, we had questions. Now any discussion from the council? And so then I will ask if we have a motion.
So staff asked that when you make the motion that you include the changes that we had provided to you tonight, if you want to include those.
So you would move to introduce as amended.
Yes.
Move to introduce as amended.
I second.
All right, all right. It's a public hearing, so let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Lowe. Aye. Councilmember Gurney.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wellander.
Yes.
Mayor Farrar-Rivas.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Now we're going to move to our second public hearing, which is ordinances amending Sonoma Municipal Code to clarify the responsibilities of the review authorities and modify regulations pertaining to design review to further streamline city entitlement process, and finding the ordinances are exempt from the California Environmental Act, CEQA, pursuant to section 15061B3. And so I'm also going to turn this over to our Community Development Director, Jennifer Gates.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. So before you is my second item for the night, which is our design review ordinance. So just for a little history, in December of 2024, at a Planning Commission meeting, we had a permit streamlining ad hoc committee that had been created through our Planning Commission, and they had provided recommendations on changes for discussion by the Planning Commission in regards to design review. And with that, we had a robust discussion, and they provided recommendations. With that, staff took the information and met back with the ad hoc committee, including, which was of two, so just make sure, and then one other planning commissioner. I know. With another planning commissioner, though, and to go over what those proposed ordinance was. Then we took that ordinance to the Planning Commission meeting on April 17th, and we discussed that draft design review ordinance changes, and they provided additional recommendations. With that, staff amended the ordinance one more time, and on June 17th, presented that to the Planning Commission, where they recommended City Council approval of the draft ordinance that's attached to your document. So with that, as a reminder, there are two ordinances. The reason why is one of them is what specifically went before Planning Commission. So our development code and a couple of other sections are under the purview of Planning Commission. So anything under their purview does go to them first for their recommendation before coming to you for actual adoption. So that's the first ordinance. So that's why there's the PC word, is PC ordinance. So this ordinance is specifically what they saw, and these are amendments to Title 19. So they are going to modify the Design Review and Historic Preservation Commission as a title to just Historic Preservation Commission throughout Title 19. So you'll see that change. You'll see some modification of references for approval responsibility. Again, there was places where it was specifically calling out Design Review and Historic Preservation Commission, or Planning Commission. In a lot of those cases, we've modified to Review Authority or Planning Commission if it was very clear that they would be the deciding. We also modified the demolition permit process to reflect changes in design review. So exempt from demolition review include structures that are not located in a historic overlay or listed or determined eligible for listing in the City of Sonoma's inventory. A detached accessory structure that is also not listed, and structures that the building official has determined to be a present and clear immediate threat to the public safety. We've also removed design review and demolition purview from the Historic Preservation Commission purview. So those changes you see in the PC ordinance Exhibit A. Exhibit V, the changes that you'll see are the modification to multifamily objective standards so that they apply to all multifamily projects. Currently, it states specifically to only ministerial projects that are mandated by state law. We also added a definition for new construction and multifamily development. We also modified who reviews the major design reviews, which is going to be Planning Commission moving forward. Currently in our municipal code, there's a table that outlines what is a major design review within historic overlay or outside. We're removing that and we're simplifying it to these are the items that are going to trigger major and these are the items that will trigger minor. And then also we've grown the list that's exempt. Only structures that are non-residential and residential structures that are located in the historic overlay or are listed or determined eligible for listing as a historic resource will be required to have a design review permit for their project, whether that is a major or minor. We will continue to require historic resource evaluations until the citywide survey is complete. At that point, Planning Commission has recommended that we reevaluate a historic overlay in its application. We'll have a new process for a minor design review, which still includes noticing, but no public hearing unless concerns are raised about the application itself. And we'll also increase in the projects that are exempt, as stated earlier. So those are the main changes to the PC section ordinance. The City Council ordinance content, so this is the items that aren't under the purview of the Planning Commission. We are specifically modifying, the Design Review and Historic Preservation Commission to just Historic Preservation Commission throughout the rest of the municipal code. And then we're also removing Design Review and Demolition from the Historic Preservation Commission purview, which is under the Administration section, and it's duplicated within Title 19, so it's a similar treatment. So with that, staff is recommending to introduce the ordinance of the City Council, City of Sonoma, amending the provisions of Title 19, which clarifies the responsibility of the review authorities and modifies the regulations pertaining to design review. And then also to introduce an ordinance of the City Council, amending the provisions in the specified chapters of the municipal code, again, to clarify those responsibilities of our review authorities and modify the regulations pertaining to design review. And that concludes staff's presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Great. Do we have any questions from council at this time? Vice Mayor Wellander, you have that look on your face. There's like a light bulb or a question mark above your head.
Thank you. And maybe this is just some of the language that's been written, but I'm seeing words like should contribute, should reinforce, etc. Those sound a little subjective. And this is just language concerns. Do you share that, or do you feel that?
I would need a specific, can you just give me one example?
Yes, under building types, alterations to existing structures should contribute to the established Broadway streetscape. So when
Where's that? Sorry.
Section 19.32.020B3 of Chapter 19.32. This is just language, and maybe this is not the correct time, but I'd love to get clarity at some point, or confirmation, or that it isn't going to be subject to interpretation, that there is something specific that defines what contributing is.
Okay. I know what you're talking about now. So this is the current language in the code. There are, again, this code amendments are specifically geared towards amending the use of the word design review and historic preservation commission throughout the code, and then design review. You're specifically referencing the should in existing language in the building type section, which exists, like you're saying, in every planning area section. with the changes that will be coming later on with the general plan, we are going to
Fine.
focus on that.
Let's see, I think I had a few post-it notes here. Out of curiosity's sake, I've always been confused. What's the difference between a historic district and a historic overlay?
So the historic district is actually a identified boundary with resources that are considered contributing or non-contributing, and it's determined to be eligible for listing at a local level, a state level, or a national level. Historic overlay is like a zoning district. It's just an overlay that we've applied. So we have like an open space overlay, we've got creek setback overlays. So it's just a zoning term that we as a city have placed and created boundaries around. So it has no formal, it's historic or not. It's just something that I think at the time that we wanted to make sure that we considered the historic resources there that are potentially there without setting a district.
Okay. And again, this may be something that'll be addressed in the general plan update, but the trigger year of, and we've talked about this, the 45 years as far as what is triggering, I see as problematic down the road in terms of subdivisions that have been built that certainly aren't architectural gems, and all of a sudden we're going to be burdening the homeowner to the fact that it now triggers or is part of, would require an HRE. So again, this could be more of a general plan update discussion, but I have concerns about that.
And so with the citywide survey, we'll be getting, once that citywide survey is done and and we go through that process, we'll be able to look at amending the ordinance itself and potentially taking away the overlay and the requirements for historic resource evaluations, because the idea behind the citywide survey is that it's going to identify those resources.
And lastly, just refresh my memory, the timeline for completing that citywide survey is?
I still need to release an RFP. We just adopted a budget, so.
Any other questions? All right, at this point, I will open the public hearing and ask for any comments from the public.
Robert Demler again. Thank you very much for the time. I see no one in the queue behind me, so please don't limit me to 2 minutes. Some background, and I don't want to miss a chance to give a nod to the Sonoma League for Historic Preservation. But back in the dark ages, when there was just Design Review Commission, there was a movement which was begun by the city staff and members of the Sonoma League for Historic Preservation to obtain certified local government status for the city of Sonoma. Supposedly, and I never totally understood it, it's to help the process of these commissions. It was only possible because one of the requirements to have certified local government status was to have a depository of historic resources, and the league had that resource and still has it. And it was done first in 1977 and then updated in 2012 and a couple of other times in small increments. We have helped the city from time to time when we're called to with the historic survey that's being discussed tonight. And because we had that, the city was able to obtain this certified local government status. And that evening, when it was discussed at the Design Review Commission, yours truly got up like he always does, and said, most of what's required is really historic preservation. So bingo, they adopted this double name, which has always been awkward. And so I have no complaints. I want to congratulate the city staff and whomever else has worked on this. This is great progress to simplify and clarify. And I'm very, very happy with how that's going. And to piggyback on the Vice Mayor's comment or question about historic district and historic overlay, I think they should be combined somehow. So it's very, very confusing to even those, or maybe especially to some of us who care about such things. So, but again, my congratulations to all of you on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comment? Yes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Omar Lopez. I'm the Senior Program Associate at Generation Housing, speaking in support of the design review ordinance updates under consideration tonight. The ordinance marks a meaningful step towards a more efficient, predictable, and housing-supportive entitlement process, while continuing to protect the historic character that makes Sonoma the unique city that people really love. We appreciate the city's work to expand objective design standards to all multifamily development, with that new definition of multifamily development. Establish clear two-tier design system, which we want to highlight will allow you, the Planning Commission staff, to really focus on these major projects. So that's where your time and your resources are really valuable, and that's where you should really, we think you should really be focusing on. And so this two-tiered system will allow you to do that. And that's a great use of resources. So we really appreciate that. We really believe that this ordinance reflects a strong, balanced approach, removing unnecessary barriers while maintaining Sonoma's identity. We really thank the City Council for your work, and I really want to thank staff for all their hard work to get this to you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're very fortunate with the level of expertise members of our staff have in this area of historic preservation. So, any other comments from the public? All right, then I will close the public hearing. I'm going to move it back to the council for discussion. Do we have any comments?
Yeah.
Councilmember Dean.
First of all, I want to send a thank you to our staff, especially Jennifer. And we have this kind of idea, I believe that is 4 years ago. We want to separate. And today, finally, and we put it into the ordinance, put it into the book. Because our city is historic city, and I think it's much better to, coordinate and all different sources and put additional value to our history and assets. That is, I fully support. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, I'm assuming we do this in two different, yes. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion for the first ordinance.
I move to approve. Let me introduce an ordinance of the City of Council of the City of the Sonoma, amending provision of the Title 19 of the Sonoma Municipal Code to clarify the responsibilities of reviewing authorities and modify regulations pertaining to design review to further streamline the city entitlement process.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yes, thank you. And City Clerk Barr, if you'll take the roll.
Councilmember Gurney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wellander?
Yes.
Councilmember Dean?
Aye.
Councilmember Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Farrar-Rivas?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
All right. Moving, I'm looking for a motion for the ordinance, the second ordinance. I can read it, or?
I move approval of the second ordinance.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And City Clerk Barr, take the roll, please.
Councilmember Gurney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wellander?
Yes.
Councilmember Dean?
Aye.
Councilmember Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Farrar-Rivas?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
All right. Now we are moving on to our regular calendar. Thank you very much for all your work on that. So we're moving on to item 9.1, which is a resolution to approve the 9/11 Memorial Public Art installation at Sonoma Valley Fire District Station. And I'm going to hand this over to Sarah Tracy, our PIO. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Sarah Tracy, Senior Management Analyst, Public Information Officer, and the staff liaison to the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission, and that is what the capacity is I'm bringing this item to you today. So tonight I'm presenting the Sonoma Valley Fire District's proposal to install a 9/11 memorial at Fire Station 1, which is in city limits, for your consideration. Little project overview for you. The proposed memorial would be located at Fire Station 1, a city-owned property at 630 2nd Street West. I'm sure you are all familiar. The installation includes a salvaged steel beam, which is the centerpiece of the memorial from the World Trade Center, a brass bell, a commemorative plaque, and 2 subtle LED uplights. The uplighting is intended to echo the tribute of light in New York that symbolizes the remembrance and resilience of the 9/11 event. The memorial would be accessible to the public year-round and honor both the lives lost on 9/11 and Sonoma's own fallen firefighters. The concept and design originated with the fire district and was brought forward to the city earlier this year, shortly after we revised the public art policy. We, of course, were expecting to work on temporary art pieces, and we're very surprised to receive a proposal for a permanent art piece. So it took us in a different direction. It was an interesting process to be able to use that new policy that you all approved. It was reviewed by the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission in April, which the commission did recommend to move the project forward to council. They did not at that time recommend allocating any public art funds in support, mostly because at that time we weren't sure what the public art fund balance was, and they hadn't programmed any of it, and asked that they return in August when they've done some fundraising if they would like to make a request for public art funds. So that may be coming back to you. Internally, the project has been reviewed by Building, Planning, Public Works, and the Clerk's Office. So I think I rounded everybody there. No infrastructure or zoning concerns were identified. The lighting will include a timer or a photocell to prevent the continuous illumination consistent with our sign policy and light policies. And the city's lease with Sonoma Valley Fire District was reviewed and found to be sufficient. CIRA, which is the city's insurance provider, did not raise any concerns. We do have some conditions of approval. Should the council approve the installation, the fire district will be responsible for securing the building encroachment permits, of course. They will also provide construction details, including the foundation, electrical, anchoring plans, etc. Lighting will be equipped with a timer or photocell, as mentioned. Pardon me, did I go too fast? The lighting will, I mentioned, the fire district will assume the full responsibility for maintenance, and the project must remain consistent with the terms of the existing lease. And so moving right along, staff, along with the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission, recommends approval of the proposed installation, of course, subject to the conditions just outlined. And the approval tonight would authorize the fire district to proceed with permitting and installation. And without further ado, we have both Deputy Chief Bob Norbaum and Chief Steve Aker here, and myself, if you have any additional questions about this project.
Do we have any questions from the council? Yes.
So is the design that we're looking at, is that a prototype, or is there, how close is that to the actual thing? Pretty close. You've seen it? Oh.
Yeah, so we had several renditions done on this project, and we settled on this one, and that's because it fits what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
The sign that we installed recently at the station is also the back of that sign, the LED sign out front that identifies our fire station, is also a memorial wall. So we're trying to tie this in to the existing memorial wall that we have there in the same courtyard. And the designer here, Mr. Powell, can give you a little more detail on this.
Neil Caldwell, Well Design. Honored to be working with the fire department on this, and design vendor as such. I can answer any questions that you have, but we did go, as Bob mentioned, through several iterations to land on this one here.
Right. I mean, it looks beautiful. I'm just wondering, sometimes, it's an artist rendering. There's, it's like, well, it's not really that color, or it's not really that whatever. I just wanted to know if that was close or whatever, but it looks lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Wellander.
Quick question. I absolutely love the symbolism of the two vertical light streams, beams. My only question is, do you have the ability to adjust the intensity as is available with certain transformers these days?
Yeah, they'll be fully dimmable down to 5% of the allowable illumination.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, at this point, I will open it. Oh, did you want to say something? Yes.
Just real
Move on
quick.
in.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. I just wanted to say just a couple of brief words. I know we got a big agenda, so I'll be respectful of that, but this is a really meaningful tribute and memorial 11, and it's certainly fitting with what Bob just mentioned about our memorial wall as well. I did want to say, call out a few things, some acknowledgments and thank yous, which are really, really important. So the whole reason that we got this, we were really surprised. We didn't think any pieces from the World Trade Center were still available. I mean, many communities were quick to grab and take advantage of that opportunity shortly after the tragedy. And it's because of relationships that we have with the city of San Rafael, with the fire chief and planning commission, specifically their planning commissioner, Jill Rodby, that we were able to get this piece. Little backstory, Chief Abe Roman of the San Rafael Fire Department and I went through Firefighter 1 Academy together 37 years ago here in Santa Rosa. So kept that connection going, and so we were able to grab a piece, and so it does speak to the power of relationships and looking out for each other and opportunities to have memorials, as San Rafael's building one right now as well. So that's a pretty cool story. Another thing that I just wanted to call out was, I guess we're the first ones to go through this new policy with the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission. But I also wanted to remind everyone that the fire department at Station 1 has the very first piece of public art that was approved by the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission back in 2002. So that's inside our station, right near the museum, and so now we're going to have a piece of public art inside and outside. And then lastly, I just want to call out some thank yous to Sarah for helping shepherd us through this. I know it wasn't a clear path necessarily, but we got through it, and to Bob and Neil for their efforts, and the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission, and all of you, hopefully, for your support with this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if we no other comments from the presentation, we'll move to public comment. Do we have any public comment? I see Mr. Demler standing up, assuming it's for public comment.
I hope the chief will hear me on this one. I think this is brilliant, extremely well done. The design is brilliant as well. And I hope you, when you put it outside, you'll replace some of those rocks and put something green near, maybe closer than 15 feet. And I think it's wonderful.
All right, do we have any other public comment? Okay, then I'll take it back to the council for discussion. Yes, Councilwoman Lowe.
I think that the beautiful rocks and defensible space around the fire station are lovely, and that this will fit in beautifully, considering it's a memorial to a city that, you know, I've been to New York City many times, and not a lot of lawn space down there. So I think it really fits beautifully with the current, you know, the current design that you have. So obviously this is such a wonderful thing, and thank you for bringing it, and wholeheartedly in support, and just want to thank everybody for all of this, and so that we will never forget what happened on that day. on so many levels. Definitely the heroes that ran in, but the people who perished, and just our democracy in general. So thank you so much.
Vice Mayor Wellander.
I politely disagree with my fellow councilwoman about the landscape, but that's for another day, another time. I do want to say that I'm very excited about the fact that this will be a very publicly visible piece of art. And I know that a lot of efforts being put forth by the Cultural Fine Arts Commission, as well as the city and a lot of other community members to want to make Sonoma an art-rich town. And to have this piece, and in addition to the meaning behind this piece, it's great and I fully support it.
Yes, Councilmember Ding. Oh, did you want to go? Did you have a comment? Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm so excited, and also I'm so grateful for your great work, not only for this piece, and my colleague already mentioned. What I want to know, folks, that is behind this, your story. You mentioned about 37 years of relationship, and your love to our community, Sonoma, goes everywhere. That is more meaningful. And also, we are fortunately lived here, historical town, and I think each member of our community is, has this kind of an obligation or responsibility to try to add some additional value to our community, and let this city, generation by generation, getting better and better. Thank you.
Very quick comment. I remember being in Napa, and they also have some elements from the towers. I used to go in the towers every day when I would go to work. So when the tragedy happened, I was very well aware of what it was like being there at that time, of the morning. So, but thank you so much. It's beautiful. Really, really appreciate the work of everyone. So I will be looking now for a motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Very good. Yeah. All right. We're moving on to item 9.2, resolution approving the First Amendment to the Agreement for Law Enforcement Services between the County of Sonoma and the City of Sonoma, and authorizing the city manager to execute the amendment. And I am going to hand this over to David Guin, our city manager, and Brandon Cutting, our chief of police, but also want to recognize that Sheriff Ingram is here with us tonight as well, too. So I will hand this over to you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Tonight's item is to extend our police contract with the Sheriff's Department. As a reminder, we contract with the Sheriff's Department to provide police services here within the city of Sonoma. We are one of two cities in the county that do this. The city of Windsor, or the town of Windsor, does this as well. We started in 2020, this contract, so it's been 5 years. And so we are looking at extending this term for another 5 years. There's essentially three elements to this change that's going to happen with this agreement if the council moves forward tonight. One is the extension of terms for additional 5 years through June 30th, 2030. Second is one of the important pieces of the budget is the indirect cost. And so that's a conversation we've been having with the Sheriff's Department for the past year or so. And there was an amendment that there was an item in there that required that we meet and confer when they exceed a certain percentage, 27.9%. What we've discussed with their finance department is that we're planning to meet every year no matter what and talk about that indirect cost and what that means to the city, what it means, and how we can work with them on that. So that's something that we've worked with, and they did that this year as well. They were very proactive, meeting with us, and I want to commend the Sheriff's Department and the finance staff there for taking the time to drive over here and sit down and walk through line by line of the budget to make sure that we understood what that meant and why. The third piece of this is something that you've heard about in the previous budget processes. Is we've removed some cost from the police contract that was around the youth and family services. We had a cost-sharing agreement with the Sheriff's Department to provide that youth and family services program. We did work with the school district and with the Sheriff's Department and the DA's office to understand a different approach to how we manage that and still achieve the same results. So that cost was eliminated from the budget, both from our budget and from the Sheriff's budget. We did that, I believe, in the previous budget year, 2 years ago. This contract amendment will solidify that, memorialize that, and clean that language up in this new agreement, so it will no longer be part of that agreement. There's also some slight language changes in there that will allow us to do independent review of the overhead percentage, and then also we're making sure that we're getting the same treatment as other jurisdictions, such as Windsor and others, when we're negotiating those contracts. I just want to say that I've been working on this budget with the Sheriff's Department for the past couple of years, and they've been extremely open to addressing budget shortfalls and understanding the situation we're in. We've looked at service levels and identified how we can save costs and reduce those costs where appropriate. Our police chief obviously has been very proactive with that and identifying areas where we can identify savings without reducing risk to our community. I do want to also acknowledge the fact that we've had extreme impressive service from this agreement, and I'll leave it up to you as well to provide your own comments. But I know from staff's perspective, the officers, the police chief, evidently, and the finance team in the sheriff's office and our sheriff who is here tonight have all been very supportive, reactive, and very proactive in working with us. So I want to thank them for that over the past few years that I've been here. So one other thing I do want to mention is this agreement is the overall contract for us to contract with the Sheriff's Department for this service. Each year, the police chief and I work on a service plan. So that service plan is updated each year, and that's the day-to-day operation of how we police within this city. And so that's something we work on, and I approve that each year. So we're looking at this every year, and it's not just once every 5 years. I just want to let the council know that that's an ongoing effort that the police chief and I work on. And so again, I want to thank the police chief, Brandon. We have one of the best police chiefs in the county. I think we are very fortunate as a community. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our sheriff if he wants to add a few comments.
Welcome, Sheriff Ingram.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. It doesn't seem that long ago, then Chief Gurney and I myself worked here when the sheriff's office came in. I was a deputy working at the old Valley substation when the sheriff's office came in, and then Chief Gurney was here, and I was one of the few deputies to work underneath him when we first came in. So I'm very happy that you have continued to place your trust in the sheriff's office 21 years now and continue to do that. I'm very happy that Brandon is here and he's doing a tremendous job for you, and we hope to continue providing that service for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So at this point, I will bring it to the council for questions in regards to this item.
Just one quick question about that third comment about the discontinuing the joint funding. That's not the community services officer, is it?
No, it's not. No, that's in the budget, and we are funding that. This
Thank you.
was the youth programs that was run separately as a separate program.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I have one, and those youth services continue on and they're funded separately?
Yeah, and I don't know if I can have the police chief maybe talk about how that service is done.
So Youth and Family Services was a diversion program that we put youth into. The school system itself has a restorative process, which essentially created their own Youth and Family Services diversion program so that we didn't have to refer them to the criminal justice system. And so that system, the school system, was well more advanced than the Youth and Family Services at the time. So 2 years ago, when we eliminated that program from the fees for the city and the county share, it was more advanced and more appropriate for our youth at the time.
Thank you very much. Sorry you got locked out, Caitlin. All right. So then if we don't have any other, no other questions, I will open it for public comment. Do we have any public comment in regards to item 9.2? All right, seeing none, I will bring it back to our council for comments. Yes, Councilwoman Lowe.
Sheriff Ingram reminded me of that initial agreement with Chief Gurney, and I was there that night in this council chambers advocating on behalf of the recommendation from Chief Gurney, and I never imagined that I'd be here now being able to vote on the renewal of such an agreement and be next to Chief Gurney. So, needless to say, the previous council made a good decision, and I'm proud to serve with Councilmember Gurney and thank everyone for their service. This is very good. Move forward.
Other comments? Councilmember Ding?
Just saying the great service with appreciation. Thank you.
Well, I remember 21 years ago, well, actually it would be 22 years ago. Anyway, it was a very interesting time for the city. There was a lot of debate over whether this was appropriate for the city of Sonoma. And when we did the analysis, the answer was pretty simple. But for some people, they saw it as a real loss of local control. And here we are 21 years later, and I think it's safe to say that not only is the community of Sonoma well served, but I think the interoperability between the deputies in the valley, what the city does, I still am amazed at the benefits that we get from this relationship. And I'm still befuddled as to why more small communities haven't done that. So it's a model that works so well that others should embrace it, frankly. So, but thank you very much for all that you've done. We've had an excellent group of chiefs come through here, and so we are being well served. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Wellander.
I'd like to piggyback onto what our city manager has stated. Because our contract with the Sheriff's Department, I think, is the second largest contract that we have in our general fund, I greatly appreciate your transparency. It's not unusual for people to question how our money is being spent, and it's I appreciate greatly the ability or the willingness you've had on your part to work with our city manager and to figure out what the right fit is. And I will also echo what former Police Chief Gurney said, that we have been blessed with a number of good, effective police chiefs, and that tradition is carrying on. And I'd like to embarrass him somehow, but I guess I won't.
Who is it you want to, Gurney or Chief Gurney, ex-Chief Gurney or Chief Cutting? I just want to know who you want to embarrass so we can, if we're going to pass on that, we got to know who it is that we're
I believe the recipient knows.
Okay, right. So, yeah, and I know it's been said many times, but I think it can't be said enough, just how responsive, how collaborative Chief Cutting is, and just the great presence at all of our events, and not just the presence, but the way the presence is and the way situations are handled. So, yes, thank you very much for your service. It is greatly appreciated, greatly appreciated. So, I am at this point now looking for a motion.
I think it's only appropriate that I make that motion as soon as I find it. I move to adopt the resolution approving the First Amendment to the Agreement for Law Enforcement Services between the County of Sonoma and the City of Sonoma, and authorizing the city manager to execute the amendment.
I second.
The only other comment I would make is sorry to add a quick one on, it's not an amendment, but just also the work that our city manager has done and how well that collaboration goes. I'm sure that that is also adding to this effort, the success of this effort. Thank you. So we got a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, now we're moving on to 9.3. So this is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Burbank Housing for an affordable housing grant and an associated budget transfer of $250,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for the purchase of 18 units in the city of Sonoma for the preservation of existing affordable housing. And so I'm going to pass this on to our Community Development Director, Jennifer Gates.
Good evening
Third
again.
time's a charm.
That's right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. On April 1st of this year, the city had received a notice of intent to sell 2 affordable housing properties that are located within our city limits with affordable housing agreements. So our affordable housing agreements in the city do have a requirement from owners to tell us when they are getting ready to sell. So they did that, which we are very happy that they did. So these properties include 673 First Street West, known as the Setzer Senior Affordable Apartments, and which is 8 units, and 270 First Street East, known as our Masonave Apartments, which is 10 units. Both of these are affordable to low-income households, which is 80% of our AMI. In accordance with the agreement, the city or its designee has 90 days notice before it may exercise the city's right of first refusal to purchase any affordable housing units. City staff immediately reached out to different nonprofits to determine interest and identified Burbank Housing as the city's designee. Burbank Housing intends to purchase all 18 units through different loans, including ABAFA, which is the Bay Area Housing Finance Authority preservation loan. With a purchase price of $5 million, Burbank is requesting a $250,000 grant from the city to cover a funding gap for the purchase and renovation of these 18 units. The city's Affordable Housing Trust Fund has a balance of $2.6 million, which can be used to provide a grant to Burbank Housing in accordance to our policy. The grant would be issued contingent upon Burbank Housing securing any necessary financing for the purchase of the units on or before December 31st of 2025. The City Council does direct staff to move forward with the affordable housing grant. Staff recommends that City Council adopt the attached resolution, which will authorize our city manager in consultation with the city attorney to provide a letter of funding commitment and to develop the necessary grant agreement. This agreement will document the provision of the $250,000 for the purchase of the 18 units, and again, before the date of December 31st of 2025. It also, the resolution will amend the current year's fiscal year budget from fiscal year 25-26 to appropriate that $250,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to an affordable housing grant. So that concludes staff's presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions along with the representative from Burbank Housing as well as the city manager or the city attorney.
And I'd just like to add one thing. One additional request that we're asking the council to make tonight as part of this resolution is that you'll authorize the city manager to myself to develop this agreement, but also execute the agreement based on the timing. So I just want to make sure that we will not be coming back if the council approves this tonight. I'll execute the agreement.
So we'll just want to, if that's the will of the council, we'll just want to reflect that in the amended resolution. So.
Great, thank you very much for that. Do we have any questions from council? No. At this point, I will ask if we have any public comment. There we go.
Good
Caitlin
evening.
gets to go first because she hasn't spoken yet.
I just got up here quicker. Caitlin Cornwall, representing Sonoma Valley Collaborative, representing 30 or so organizations, working in some kind of consensus for infill affordable housing in Sonoma Valley, and just very happy to be up here and just say this is great. It's fantastic. The landowner did what they're supposed to do. They notified the city took action. This is a great thing, and we need to do even more of it. The city puts a lot of trust in the idea that there are these affordable units out there, and the city approves development based on those assumptions, and we want those units to stay affordable for forever. Otherwise, what are we doing with affordable inclusionary unit requirements? So this is a great thing. Burbank is a great partner. Hooray. And while I'm here, I also want to express a hooray on behalf of Sonoma Valley Collaborative for the previous item about the Design Review Commission. That's actually been a piece of Sonoma Valley Collaborative's housing platform for a long time, that design review, as much as possible, just get shoved under the purview of Planning Commission, and now it's going to happen. So 2 cheers. Thank you.
Mr. Demler.
Am I correct in understanding that this is a transfer of funds or without any repayment? Is that correct?
If we approve it, I mean, that's what we are looking to approve. We could change that tonight, but so far, I mean, I think that that's the direction that's being asked.
I'm not a Republican, and I used to be a progressive Democrat. I'm just a plain Democrat now, and I think this is a great cause. I wonder if it might be structured as a letter of guarantee as opposed to a grant, because this is really, and I've never liked this trust fund that the city has. It's an involuntary transfer of wealth, and that doesn't set well with me. It's involuntary. You charge this fee to developers, and then you put it in a trust fund, and then you make grants. I'm sorry, personally, I do not like that. I like the cause, but I don't like this method.
Thank you. I'll have to dwell deeper into that so I have better understanding. Do we have any other public comment? Yes, please step forward. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm Rich Wallach, Burbank Housing, Senior Director of Housing Finance Business Development. I didn't know if I'd have an opportunity to do this, so I was under public comment. That's fine. I do want to thank David and the city for pitching in. I think the property itself was on behalf of the seller, who did cooperate with us, but he also was looking for a very high price for the property based on the income levels of the people there. And it was a struggle for us to make this work, and we appreciate the funding coming from the city. We also very much appreciate the tremendous program that BAFA created, which provided everything they could. I mean, they set rules and guidelines for what they could contribute to the project, and that number maxed out at $250,000 per unit, and that still did not get us what we needed. We've got a loan coming from the San Francisco Housing Accelerator Fund that is only about $1.2, $1.3 million, because that's all that the property can support based on the rents that are in place now on the property. We will do our best to maintain those rents, or certainly under 80% AMI, and we have some limitations on how much we can increase those rents. But we will probably, when people do leave and the unit is vacant, we'll take that opportunity to increase the rents so we can do what we can to maintain the properties in the best way possible and make some significant improvements to the properties as well. I'm dying to put air conditioning in all of those units. It was in there today, and there are all kinds of contraptions people were using to stay cool. So I'm available for any questions if you like. Otherwise, just thank you for supporting the project.
Why don't we just see now if we have any questions? Okay, so moving forward, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then we're bringing it back to council for comments and discussion. Yes.
Well, I'm very happy to support this. I think this is a perfect use of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. It's doing everything that, we know it's very difficult to raise revenue as a city for housing, or to be even in the business of housing. BAFA was not able to go forward with their measure. My measure, I worked on Proposition 5 to lower the threshold for passing housing bonds with Burbank and other people. We got nipped at the post, if you will. And so there are very few ways to do this. And yet, when we survey our citizens, this is like one of their top priorities. So we are, in fact, doing something tonight that is a priority of the people of Sonoma, and we're doing it in the way that we can. And I'm just so glad that we have this resource, and the people before us created this fund, so we had this available. So I wish everybody well on this, and this is a great step forward. I'm happy to support.
Any other comments? Vice Mayor Wellander.
I'll keep this short. It is a real challenge these days to create any affordable housing. So given the opportunity to actually to save some existing affordable to continue to be affordable is huge. And I'm very pleased that we do have that opportunity and do appreciate the willingness to collaborate. Thank you, Burbank.
Yes. Oh, good. All right.
Councilmember Ding.
This is a meaningful step for our affordable housing the trust fund. We started this almost in 10 years, and local people and the support. And the first time we using this fund, that is during the pandemic, we using a rental assistance, and then later on we then paid back. So now I'm so glad right now we have $2.6 million. It's really, really something. And I concerned that is in the future, how we can manage this and help the Burbank, because all the money is from the local, the 1% from our TOT tax. I know the affordable housing should have no any discrimination for where you come from, but reality is, and many affordable housing the beneficiaries, and they are not from the other cities around here. So now I'm wondering in the future, and how we can work together and give them more opportunity for our local workers in the Safeway, in the Lucky, or in the clinic office. They got more chance to enjoy or get a visitor benefit. That is my concern. Because I did have this kind of similar experience, because the local residents complained. They said, oh, and I work in the Sonoma, but the affordable housing, the tenant, and they work in the Napa, so they commute, and so in this way, how we can work closely, and when we screen or give them more opportunity for the local people. Thank you.
Councilmember Gurney.
Well, I just, since campaigning 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, this was a priority for the community, housing. It really didn't even dawn on me at the time about preserving existing housing until this opportunity came up. And knowing that we've been talking about housing every single year in terms of priorities and goals, I think this is a brilliant opportunity for us to be able to affect housing, because accumulation of sufficient funds to build affordable housing is really a reach. So I'm going to support this, and I think that preservation is the next best thing to creating, and so I think we need to move forward with this.
Yeah, I'm very happy to support this. Actually, when we were campaigning and we had an event at the Maisonave house, there were residents of those units that came and spoke to us and were concerned and asked us what we were going to do, and we did say that we would be doing something about it. So I am very happy that we were able to do something about it, and just wanted to say we did discuss of the, 200 or 250, the amount of money that we thought we were going to have to lend to Burbank Housing, whether it should be a grant, whether it should be a loan, whether it should be a guarantee, and we really felt that the grant was the best, and also because by the time, if we did a loan, that would be due to be paid back, it would be actually based on inflation a much smaller amount. So it really, in tomorrow's dollars, so it really made sense to do a grant. And just of the three, preservation, protection, and production, yeah, it doesn't make sense to create more affordable housing if you're not preserving what we already have. So I think this is really great that we're able to do this, and I hope we can find other ways to do more. So thank you very much, and I will ask for a motion.
So moved.
I second.
All
Just,
right.
just to clarify, that's with the amendment that the authorization includes execution.
With the amendment. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on to 9.4. And this is an item to regards to priority projects for Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authority's funding program. That's SCTACA. For their funding program cycle 2, their call for projects. So just want to be clear as people look at this, it's great to get excited about this, but this allows us to apply for these. It doesn't necessarily mean that we get them. So, but that's why we want to prioritize and look at the ones that are going to be most likely to be funded. So, and I am going to pass this over. It's not going to be. It's going to be to you, Ashley, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, instead of Michael Berger. Great. Ashley, remind me your last name.
Cotter.
Ashley Carr.
Yes. Great. Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you, council members. So, as Mayor Farrar-Rivas pointed out, we are going to go over the priority projects that staff has identified for this funding opportunity. So just a brief agenda for this presentation. We're going to go over the SCTCA funding program cycle 2, the current funding available for this round of funding, the scoring criteria that SCTCA is going to use to judge our projects, the ultimate goal, what I hope to get out of this meeting. We're going to go over the priority projects that we're presenting and hope to get some feedback from you all. So the SCTCA funding program cycle 2, in 2021, the city of Sonoma submitted one project for this. That's the citywide bicycle and pedestrian improvement projects. We refer to it as CIP T6. We received $1.6 million in Go Sonoma BBP funds for this project. This process was started in 2021 to strategically coordinate funding for priority projects across the region. It's one application per project, and the funding sources that are available for these are listed here. So for the 2025 SCTCA Cycle 2 funding sources, this is what we have, about $100 million in funding that is available for this, that SCTCA will program for us when we submit the applications. So the different fundings that we have are the 2 Go Sonoma projects or funding sources, Build Bikeways and Pathways, Move Traffic, Improve Safety, our State Transportation Improvement Program, One Bay Area Grant, and SB1 Local Partnership. The scoring criteria that SCTCA has put together is listed here. There's 200 points total available for a project, and they are based on potential for mode shift, collisions and safety, project readiness, congestion, reliability, traffic flow, etc. So the overall goal of this presentation is that I'm looking to get feedback on the proposed projects. We have presented 7 projects, but 5 is the total amount that we are allowed to submit for SCTCA funding cycle 2 consideration. We have prioritized the projects ourselves, so we have the 5 priority projects that we like to submit, and we're looking to get some feedback on those. The scoring criteria that staff used was project readiness, support for the project, and the possibility of project success and completion. And then, as noted in the staff report, if any of our projects get selected to move forward through the SCTCA process, we will be bringing back an amendment to the capital improvement program to formally adopt a project and adopt a budget. So with that, our projects. Priority project number 1 is the road rehabilitation project on First Street West from the Plaza, West Spain, all the way up to the police department / council chambers where we're at currently. We rank this number 1 due to the ability to construct, demonstrated city need, and benefit to bike pedestrian users, and competitive against the scoring criteria. The PCI for this segment average is about 35, so between 65 and 70 is good. PCI is Pavement Condition Index. That's what Metropolitan Transportation Commission and any other transportation authority is going to use to figure out how decent your pavement is. So the estimated project cost for this is about $1.3 million. Our grant request would be for about $1 million, and we will add in considerations for bike facilities as well as part of this project. This is just pictures of the current conditions and then just a map of what we're looking at as a consideration for this project. Moving on to project number 2, these are road rehabilitation projects at Andrick Street from 2nd Street West to Broadway, Verano from 5th Street West to city limits, and 7th Street West from West Spain Street to West Napa Street. We prioritize this number 2 based on the scoring criteria that staff came up with, and I've listed the pavement condition index ratings for these segments as well. Verano's at 53, Andrick's is at 49, and 7th Street West is at 26. The estimated project cost for this is $3 million. Grant request would be about $2.5 million, and we would also add in considerations for bicycle facilities as well. Just another shot on a map view of the different considerations for this. These are shorter segments, and then also pictures of current conditions. Project number 3, this is our, I went too fast. Broadway sidewalk displacement and streetscape improvement. This is our, against staff's criteria, ranked number 3. There are significant sidewalk displacements along both sides of Broadway, and addressing these will definitely enhance the user experience. This is actually recommended as a planning phase allocation, so I should have mentioned that projects 1 and 2 are for a construction phase allocation, so you can apply specifically for different phases of the project. We're recommending this one specifically for planning. So the estimated project cost, rough estimate, is about $6 million. So the rough plan is, if this project were to be selected, this would be a planning project. We would get funded for planning, and then we would have a shovel-ready project eligible for additional grant funds. And this is a picture of current conditions. That is a picture of roots abrupting into the sidewalk. The Public Works Department addressed this back in 2024. And then project 4 is our citywide sidewalk gap closures. So in our adopted active transportation plan, there is a list of sidewalk gap closures, and they are ranked priority tier 1 through 3, priority 1 being high, priority 2 being low, medium, and priority 3 being low. So this project is currently proposed for tier 1 sidewalk gap closures. We're also recommending this as a planning phase allocation. Estimated project cost is about $6 million. Grant request is $500,000. We're recommending this for planning, as there could be significant right-of-way issues with the tier 1 locations. And this map has all of the tier 1 sidewalk gap locations circled as they are listed in the city's active transportation plan. Project number 5, and this will bring us to the end of the city staff's 5 priority projects. We do have another 2 to present, but the 5 are the ones that staff has prioritized. This is the road rehabilitation and bike boulevard installation on Newcomb Street. This project is adopted in the city's active transportation plan as well. It addresses a bike boulevard on Newcomb Street as a Tier 1 project priority. The pavement condition index on Newcomb Street is an 8, so conditions are favorable for road rehabilitation before the striping project. So approximately 1,800 linear feet. This would be about a $3.5 million project with a grant request of $3 million. And we will evaluate this section for traffic calming measures. The Traffic Safety Committee recently adopted our traffic calming plan, and so we will utilize that to evaluate this street for any potential traffic calming additions. Let's go. I think I'm pressing the right button. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is a picture of current conditions map, and this is just a picture of a bike boulevard striping. Staff doesn't know if that's exactly what we're going to use. That will be determined as we work through the project. And then Project 6, this is a Louisville Valley Bike Boulevard from 4th Street East to 7th Street East. This would be a multi-agency collaboration. It's not all of this is in city right-of-way. This is also listed in the city active transportation as a Tier 1 high priority project, and we would be presenting this as a planning allocation phase only for $450,000. Estimated construction is $6 million, and this does include traffic calming as well. That is listed specifically as in the active transportation plan. And then Project 7 is the ADA installations at miscellaneous locations citywide. This is part of a larger city effort to update ADA ramps throughout the city and address sidewalk displacements and stuff like that. Estimated at $2.5 million, grant request at $2 million. I'm available for any questions. I'm going to appreciate any feedback you can give.
Thank you very much. At this moment, we'll take questions from the council. Yes, Vice Mayor Wellander.
Okay, under project number 1, First Street West, is that going to address also the drainage that is significant on the east side?
I think it can. We have not discussed that specifically, but it's something that we definitely looked at when we evaluated that for bicycle pedestrian facilities as well.
And when we're speaking right now of road rehabilitation, we're not just talking about a topical coating, we're talking about grind and repave, correct?
To some effect, yes. That will be evaluated when we put an RFP out for design, what particular treatment. So, and then Mike can also speak to that effect as well. Yep. He's just moving himself closer to answer questions. But yeah, so road rehab meaning it's not just a slurry seal.
And then I would love to hear a little bit more on the Newcomb. I can envision, happens to be my hood, so I know the area well. So I can envision the grind and repave or whatever. What I can't comprehend is talk to me about the bicycle striping or whatever that's envisioned.
So the bike boulevard, in its most reduced form, is basically just additional striping to say that, this is a bike pedestrian facility. We will evaluate it for additional traffic calming, depending on how much traffic is actually in the road, and what other additional measures might be needed. But right now, without that evaluation, it's probably just a striping project. So it would be additional striping down that area to indicate that this is an area to be shared with bicyclists and vehicles as well.
And this was maybe prompted by the successful completion of the pedestrian bridge across Friar Creek.
Yes, it does provide that link to get onto the bike path, so you don't have to go all the way down to Friar Creek and then down that other bike path and then get on that other bridge before you can get to that section.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Gurney.
Regarding Newcomb, does the project include curbs and gutters and sidewalk for part of that roadway?
Yes. Those would be evaluated as we move forward with planning studies for that project. We have some right-of-way acquisitions, I believe, that we have to acquire in the stretch of road, and all this would be evaluated in the planning stages of the project. But curb gutter and sidewalk would definitely be a goal.
Okay. Also, now my question regarding the sidewalks. And not in the Broadway, I'm not sure what is policy for Broadway. For the residential area, supposedly house owner take the responsibility for those kind of and tree roots and clip. I'm not sure how we can handle this.
Yeah, so from a maintenance standpoint, the city muni code currently set up that the homeowner is responsible for maintaining the sidewalk. But when you're talking about these gap closure projects, these would be paid for by the city, funded by the grant, and the city would have a role, and this would be a CIP project and involve right-of-way acquisition, planning, design, and construction.
The question is, I saw that there is a fund sourced from the federal government. What kind of fund, if any updated information, any uncertainty or?
We have not heard any feedback from SCTCA about the uncertainty of the federal funds. We believe that they will be available when, because they are the ones that are actually going to put forward these projects for funding after they figure out what is the best funding match for these. It's different than in years previous, well, before 2021, where each agency would submit to, OBAG 4 or HSIP, et cetera. But we haven't gotten any feedback from them about whether or not those funds are uncertain, so we believe they are at this time.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Lowe.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this together. A couple questions. On Andrex Street, why are we starting at 2nd Street West and not 5th Street West? Because there seems to be a lot of, at least at the moment, a lot of construction. I don't know what's being done there, but there have been closures on certain sides of that street. I don't know if it's PG&E or if there's drain. I'm not sure, but in front of the hospital and so forth on the way, it seems like the whole street needs it. Why do we start at 2nd? That's the question.
Yeah, the section that we've identified has really deteriorated more than the rest of the street.
Okay.
It's lost the top, and we won't jump into this project 5 years down the road if all of Andrex needs a little bit more work. We would definitely take that into consideration. As Councilmember Wellander, Vice Mayor Wellander suggested earlier, the depth of the treatment on Andrex, it's going to be an overlay, and that's one of the cheapest routes to go versus on First Street, where we're going to do a full reconstruction of the roadway. And the limits of that could be extended as we move forward with the development of the project based on current condition.
Okay, because it right in front of the hospital, it's pretty bad.
We will take a look at that.
Please. And then, thank you. My other question is, Verano being one of those streets that's half in the city and half in the county, are we fixing both sides of the street, or how does that work?
The project is currently to go up to city limits. So city limits is house like 744 on Verano. So we don't have that's where our jurisdiction would end.
Well, my understanding is that, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody who's got a map handy, that the north side of Verano is in the county and the south side of Verano is in the city. So it's not like per household, it's literally half the roadway. Is the way I've always understood it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not familiar with the jurisdictional line going down that street.
Okay.
I could investigate that. If we did do a
Vanna has pointed out.
Those maps are usually correct.
Okay.
But
So.
we'll do a thorough search, and if the jurisdictional line was down the middle of the road, this would be a joint project with the county.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My understanding it is, just because I know people that live on the other side of that road that don't vote in city elections, and the people on the other side of the road do.
One of the
And
roads
that's how I
I'm
know.
very familiar with is Harrington. And
Harrington,
Harrington,
I know, yeah.
between 5th Street and Manor, half of the people, the residents on the south side of that project
Right.
are in the county. The residents on the north side are in the city. However, 100% of the road is maintained by the city.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think Verano's the same way, but we'll follow up on that.
Okay. That'd be great. Thank you so much for your work on this. Appreciate it.
no other questions. If we have, yes, we have another
Just
question.
a question possibly to the city manager. There was a notation in this agenda item about if it is a matching fund, it could be something that we'd have to be looking to draw out of our general fund. Can you comment on the liability or the exposure of that, given the fact that we're not rolling in money?
Yeah, as mentioned before, if we do move forward, it looks like we're going to move forward on this, we'll be coming back to the council to look at making a CIP project and allocating those funds, and we'll have to determine how we're going to allocate those funds. If we're going to shift projects around in the existing CIP or ask for additional funds potentially from the reserves to make up that difference. But we will bring that. That'll be a decision we bring back to you.
Got it, okay. Oh, okay. All right, I'm just looking at the map, seeing if I have a question there, and I think I've got it understood where it is now. All right, so we are now moving to public comment. Any public comment? Yeah, there we go. Sorry you've had to be here all night.
That's okay. Sometimes it's nice to just sit, right, and listen to other things. I'm Eris Weaver. I'm the executive director of the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition, and my staff and I have been for the last 2 years following the active transportation plans throughout the county, and now that everyone's applying for their grants, we're following along all the jurisdictions on those as well. So I have a few comments and questions on these proposed projects from the bicyclist point of view. It's not a bicycle project, but very much in favor of the ADA improvements. Anything that makes it easier for someone in a wheelchair to get around, like the ramps and the curb cuts, that also makes it easier for everyone else. Moms with strollers, people on bikes. So that's something that makes things better for everyone. I had kind of a question about the projects number 1 and 2, the road rehab projects, because it does state on the slide that they will benefit bikes and pedestrians, but it isn't clear. It wasn't clear from the presentation what else might be being done to those besides just being repaved. With the exception, I know Verano is in your bike ped, in your active transportation plan, it's a tier 3 priority for a bike boulevard. So I was just curious about what those bike things might be on those, because it wasn't listed. In regards to bike boulevards, I think Lowell and Newcomb, there's schools nearby that, it's a great thing to make those more bike accessible. But I will say I'm not a big fan of the Class 3 bike boulevard designation because it's not specific. If you say you're going to build a Class 1 separated path, everybody knows what that looks like. If you say you're going to build a Class 2, you're just going to paint a Class 2 bike lane, everybody knows what that looks like. But the bike boulevard designation has a whole bunch of different possibilities. And my fear is always, I've seen too many jurisdictions say, we're making a bike boulevard, and all they do is paint those sharrows on that were in the picture. And that, the sharrows don't make a street safer. They don't change behavior of cyclists, and they don't change behavior of drivers. In fact, the folks who kind of came up with them back in the 70s are now going, oh no, these suck. We thought they was going to be cool, and they're not really doing anything. So unless something else is being done in the street, like speed tables, lane width reductions, chicanes, some other kind of treatment to calm traffic, just painting a sharrow doesn't really accomplish the things that you're trying to accomplish in terms of making
Could you
this better for
explain what a
cyclists.
sharrow is? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're...
The slide, could you put back up the slide that had the sharrow on it?
It's just the bicycle shadow, or right?
Well, it's sharing arrow is what the word comes
got
from.
it.
See the
I
bike
get
with
what you mean.
the arrow, that the idea behind the
Yeah.
sharrow is that it's supposed to say, bicyclists are allowed to be here. In practice, first of all, bicyclists are already allowed to be there, right? In a street, if there's not a bike lane, bicyclists are allowed to be taking the lane. But research has shown that it doesn't actually change anything in terms of, it doesn't make people feel safe. Cyclists who might be afraid to ride feel more safe to go ride on that street. And it doesn't change driver behavior either. So a sharrow alone doesn't really give us what we're after for.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So can we answer those? I think there was the the bike thingy questions for like the number 1 and number 2. I like bike thingies. And then I do have a bike. I have a bike thingy too. So, and then also because I think you did mention on the newcome that you would also be looking at other common measures.
Yeah, and just for council to remember that when you're talking about bike lanes and separated by bike lanes, that's something that we're definitely going to be looking into, but that is going to be a blend between parking and a bike lane. For instance, on First Street, heading up from the plaza, we've got a few designated parking spots before we transition to the edge of road ditch where there's barely any shoulder at all. And if one of the aspects of that project that we're looking at is potentially putting a storm drain in for a portion of that edge of road ditch. When you do something like that, it opens up a lot of the real estate on the side, gives room for a potential bike lane. And in addition to that, we've got our brand new traffic calming measures book that we just finished that's going to be up on the website. And the bottom line is we're going to utilize the full suite and complement of all the measures in there, working with the Traffic Safety Committee to come up with, given the real estate that we have, the best fit and the most safe measures that we can put in for bike safety and ped safety.
All right. Thank you very much. And I'm not seeing any other public comment. I think I'm correct there. So any discussion? I think the key question we're looking at of the 7 here, which are the top priority 5. I know I have I'll let everybody speak first. Make a comment. Because it's my bit of time in Hawaii. Okay. So my comment is, I guess the only thing, I agree with the 5 priorities, but I also priority number 7, the ADA work, I think, considering the population. I guess I just want to have a question a little bit more about that in regards to, or comments, that why are we not raising that up to a higher level? I know that probably should have been in the question period, but that did, especially based on, I thought about that early, but especially based on the other comments about the ADA from the public. Thinking of where are we right now in that regard? Is that why it's a number 7? Because we're already doing a sufficient job in that area, or?
Staff worked with our contract city engineer, Matt Wargula, who's actually on this call too, who can answer any questions. I think, or did he drop off? He's still here. Oh, cool. So anyway, we worked together to create our scoring criteria, and this project scored lower. It scored lower because one of the things was our ability to complete the project. So we didn't have locations identified from a project grant perspective. We wanted to pursue projects that were going to be harder for city staff to do and procure funding for and stuff like that. And so that's part of why it's ranked a little bit lower.
All right. Thank you very much. Comment?
This is a follow-up to the ADA. The number 7, we've seen around town where we're seeing a lot of upgrade to existing ADA ramps. So in terms of number 7, is this just a continuation of upgrade, or is this truly identifying areas that we currently do not offer a curb cut or a ADA ramp? Because we're switching from, I know that there's big dispute about the buttons, and wheelchairs don't like it, and so on and so forth. Though they keep changing, the goalposts for ADA requirements keep changing. So is that the genesis behind number 7 be to get to the new goalposts?
Well, that project is going to be more of it's going to be a CAP. It would involve at least 15 or 20 ADA ramps around town. Yeah, that existing location that currently doesn't have one could be eligible also. However, we also have a mechanism and we've been doing work on ADA ramps around town, and that's our on-call concrete work. So regardless of whether number 7 were to move forward or not, we're still going to be moving on doing ADA ramps around town. Yeah, but with the CIP project, obviously, That'd be a lot more. It'd involve a lot of effort, way more costly. Those run about $10,000 a piece when you just have a designer do the work and a contractor and put them both under contract. Whereas we can get those done a little bit more efficiently with the contracts that we currently have.
All right, if we don't have any other comments, then I will look for a motion. Yes?
I just have one other comment, and this is going to be a very strange comment coming from a design professional. When I'm looking over at the various projects 1 through 7, it always strikes me that there seemingly is a disproportionate amount of percentage that goes to, quote, designing and planning versus the construction cost. And someone recently told me that there's a liability, and if you don't design it right, that creates a lot of problems. I've been involved on projects now almost 50 years, and I'm not saying design is not important and necessary, but it just, again, I just want to challenge staff to be prudent on how the percentage of monies we spend on design, because some stuff does not appear to be rocket science. And I mean, we have ADA standards. Yes, each side condition is a little bit different, whether it's the drainage or height difference, or maybe it's the right of ways. But again, what's really gratifying is to see built projects. And so that's where I'm just saying, but I support the top 5. And I think that that's good. I just wanted to throw that comment, that challenge out.
Thank you for that comment. So do we have someone that would like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. Since I'm on SCTCA, whatever it's now called, I think I got it right, SCTCA. Okay, I move approval. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
The first 5?
Yes, approving the first 5.
I'll second that.
All right, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion passes unanimously, and then we are on item number 10. And since we have no more public comment, we didn't hit 10 earlier, that we are at item number 11, which is a very exciting item, and that is the adjournment. Thank you all for your very hard work tonight and getting through all of this.